Hello, hello, hello! What's going on over here then? A tier list. Oh, jolly well good then. Carry on, lad. I hadn't started. Well then you better get to it! You didn't know what I was doing a second ago. Why are you so desperate for me to start? Just make the tier list! Fine! Hello! Welcome back to the series where I put everything in a tier. Since there's so many things, this series could basically go on forever, or for as long as my frail body can take it. For as long as I have fingers to place things in tiers, this series can prevail, and it might prevail. But enough intro, there's not much to explain. Everything gets a tier. Everything gets a secretary, I guess you could say. I think it's pronounced secretary actually, but this chopping tool anyway, that's what I'm referring to. And to begin today's tier list, these secretaries will be going in C secretary, but going into F tier, the bane of my today, the Dwarf Honeysuckle. And you might be asking, what's so wrong with this plant? Why is it the plant from hell? Well, it's because we got a massive one of these plants overgrowing in our garden, and the berries it drops are toxic to tortoises, and I've got a tortoise who roams free in the garden, so I had to spend all morning chopping the plant back with secateurs, scooping up all the berries so that he wouldn't eat them. It was a long and arduous task, and I now have a hatred for the dwarf honeysuckle plant and all its berries. Oh, I don't look forward to the day that I next see one of those monsters. Although that day will probably be tomorrow, because it's not like the whole plant's gone, I just chopped it back. Next up, Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad in his inflated suit will be going into S tier. Where else? Oh, come on, doesn't he just fill you with joy, just as his suit is filled with air? I'm also going to be sprinkling in some dinosaurs throughout this tier list. So first up, I've got the Stegosaurus, and a quick shout out to me for finding a picture of a Stegosaurus with a watermark on it. I mean, I understand the risk that these wildlife photographers take, photographing these beasts, but it's kind of a shame that they have to watermark their pictures. But anyway, the Stegosaurus will be going into A tier, so yeah, it's a great dinosaur. And I also thought with each dinosaur, I'm going to say a little fun fact about them. And, I mean, everyone knows the Stegosaurus. I mean, come on. If you ask someone to name, 3 dinosaurs, the Stegosaurus probably will come up, so I wanted to find a fairly obscure fact about them. And the obscure fact I have about the Stegosaurus is that they're the official dinosaur of Colorado. But the bit that surprised me the most about that fact wasn't that it's the dinosaur of Colorado, it's the fact that apparently each state in America has its own official dinosaur. I didn't know that. So the state of Colorado is going to be going into B tier. So shout out to them for picking a cool, if not slightly overrated dinosaur. Going into E tier, we've got the feeling of lethargy, and I can't imagine a better picture than this to represent it. Hate that feeling, down it goes. Going into C tier, we've got gable roofs. It's a good type of roof. And it's time for another dinosaur already. This time we got the Allosaurus. And the Allosaurus will be going into B tier. And a fun fact about this one is the most complete fossil of an Allosaurus that was ever found was nicknamed Big Al. And he apparently died of a bacterial infection. So rest in peace, my man, Big Al. Allosaurus goes into B tier. Next up, of course, we've got all the pictures of the actor Giancarlo Esposito in his big red boots. And where else can this go other than S tier? Those pictures fill me with joy, and they make me want my own pair of big red boots, but I just know I wouldn't look anywhere near as good as he does. Big red boots get a big red S tier. Next up, we've got a few historical figures. Barbara McClintock did a valuable DNA research, which earned her a Nobel Prize. She gets an A tier because that's very cool. But Queen Ranavalona I, nicknamed the Mad Monarch of Madagascar, was the Queen of Madagascar in the 19th century. And her despicable actions led to the deaths of nearly 2.5 million people. So that's obviously less cool, so she gets an F tier. And to close out our list of historical figures, we've got Christopher Smart, who in the 18th century wrote a lovely poem about his cat. However, I then found out that he wrote said poem whilst in a mental asylum, so I don't know how to feel. Beat it? Time for another dinosaur. We got the T-Rex, and where can the T-Rex go other than S tier? I mean, this bad boy's so iconic, I feel insulting even telling you a fact about them. Some of you dinosaur fans might already know this one, but the name translates from Latin to the Lizard Tyrant King. And yeah, it's a king, that's why it gets S tier. So this next one might bring back some memories. So those of you who are scholars of the tier list series might remember that in a previous episode, I tiered this picture. I commented how I loved the pure rage on the woman in the wheelchair's face. I commented on his cheeky grin, on the fact that he had a spanner, so that this was a clearly planned attack. But what I failed to mention was who he actually is. So, and this just shows how little I keep up with the monarchy. He was Prince Charles, now King Charles, the leader of this great nation. But at the time I didn't even recognise him, I referred to him as the guy. So, looking back on this picture, reflecting, calling into question my past beliefs, knowing that this guy is technically in charge of the country makes me feel a bit weird about this picture now, that it's not just some random stock photo. So I'm now going to put this picture into B tier because, don't get me wrong, there's still some magic to it, but it feels kind of weird now. And now I'm going to do something unprecedented for this series. I'm going to put 5 things at once into A tier. So we've got yoga, togas, ogres, Conestogas, and Lake Ladoga. All 5 will go into A tier. Going into D tier, we've got the billhook, a cutting tool used in agriculture and forestry. And our final dinosaur of the day, we got the Amargasaurus. I mean, just look at that thing. It's an absolute creature of magnificence. Of course it goes into S tier. And with that commences the list of things that I have to tier today. And looking at the tier list, I noticed it's been quite a positive one. We got more things towards the top than the bottom. But will that change upon seeing today's stock image? And of course, I'm going in blind. I don't know what I'm going to see, I don't know what I'm going to choose, and I don't know where it's going to go. And I think to balance out today's very positive tier list, I'm going to search for a sad stock image. Will it make me cry? Will it make me die? And today's sad stock image will be this one. This poor man with his temperature and his elongated neck. This poor soul deserves a C tier. And with that, we commence our tier list. Thank you everybody for watching. Goodbye!